Okay, seniors, good morning. It is Tuesday, March 31st. It's now our third week of online virtual learning. I hope you're sort of getting into a bit of a routine. I know you guys are in obviously a different situation than the other grades with the IB exams being canceled and all. More importantly than IB exams, I hope you guys are doing okay mentally. I was talking to the freshmen on a Zoom the other day that I think getting outside once a day, doing something active once a day, those are both incredibly important for your mental well-being. More important than, environmental topics or whatever you're doing in other classes, is making sure that you guys are doing okay during the pandemic, during this quarantine. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for those of you that did the survey last week. I'm still getting through the rest of the results on how to improve the class, different changes that I can make there, and I can let you know once I'm through. But the results I want to share with you guys are on the screen now. Basically, what you're most interested in doing. Clearly, practice tests were last place. Those were pretty low scores overall. The bolded italicized ones are the ones that scored 3 or above, and so based on your suggestions, that's what we can do between now and your last class. If you have other ideas, send me an email. I'm definitely open to suggestions. I'm open to ideas because obviously this is something that's new to me and you guys as well. But if you, again, look at the top 1, 2, 3, 6 things on there are things that I think we can plan on doing over the next couple weeks. Okay, so for today's class, the 31st, I have a couple of current issues, mostly about the coronavirus from the New York Times that I want to share with you guys. I'll post the full articles to Edmodo, and you guys can have a discussion regarding those. And then I also have 2 videos about geoengineering. This was our last content subject on 7.3, how to mitigate climate change. And one of those options is to literally try to reverse the climate of the planet. There's some obvious benefits, such as saving the planet. There's also some drawbacks, such as destroying the planet. But anyways, there's a TED Talk and a short video on that. And same deal, I'll post that to Edmodo. You guys can have a discussion on those as well. For next class, let's go ahead and have a Zoom meeting. I'll record it, so anyone who's not there, you can jump on and get caught up. But I know based on the survey, some students did want to meet face-to-face, and that's absolutely okay with me. I apologize. I know some teachers are able to meet like daily or throughout, and with our situation with both girls not at daycare, my wife's working full-time, and so I know I've not been able to meet with you guys as much as some of the other teachers, especially those with older kids. But anyways, Thursday for our Zoom class, I have a college prep assignment that I'll share with you guys, and really we'll just kind of check in just to see you guys, see how everyone's doing. Happy to answer questions. The other thing on Thursday that we can discuss are some environmental documentaries that you're interested in that we could watch after spring break. I have a list of them at the end of this slide, and you're welcome to check out the trailers for those. And then on Thursday, if you feel strongly about watching a certain documentary, feel free to share your input, and then we can hopefully come to some sort of consensus on what we want to watch when we come back from the break. Okay, so let's get started with today's class. First thing being the current issues. I was pretty disgusted when I saw this from the New York Times that the EPA, the agency that's literally designed to protect us, has basically taken off all pollution regulations because of coronavirus. This makes no sense at all. The EPA is claiming, and the EPA is run by Scott Pruitt. Actually, he resigned. I can't remember who it is, but it's a Trump crony. It's someone who's an anti-science climate denier, someone who's trying to deregulate and disassemble the EPA from within. And they're basically using coronavirus as an excuse to take out pollution measures that industry and automakers have had to follow for decades. And this is after Trump has already severely reduced those regulations back in 2017. Now, this is a pretty, I would say, moderately worded headline. Another source, which is a more left-leaning source, Common Dreams, holy crap, this is insane. Citing coronavirus pandemic, EPA indefinitely suspends environmental rules. The EPA uses this global pandemic to create loopholes for destroying the environment. This is a schoolbook example of what we need to start looking out for. And so basically, the EPA saw a chance to gut regulations, and they're using coronavirus as an excuse to do so. The next article that I found interesting is on New York Times opinion page. COVID-19 brings out all the usual zombies, why virus denial resembles climate denial. And it's pretty interesting when you look at the parallels between those who deny climate change and or even agree with climate change but say there's nothing we can do about it, it'll hurt the economy. And you're seeing very similar rhetoric from that side of the political spectrum saying, you know what, yeah, this virus is deadly, but the economy is most important. And I was pretty disgusted listening to some of Donald Trump's press conferences over the past week that we need to get the economy up and running by Easter. The economy is what's most important. Getting the stock market back is most important. And, you know, literally thousands of Americans are dying now, and we could get up to hundreds of thousands dying over the next month. And similar to the arguments against climate change, the argument is made, yeah, maybe this virus is real, maybe it's not, but the economy is more important. And again, I was pretty, I don't know, a bit ashamed, I guess, that tends to be the American response to this, that, you know, we can take some measures like social distancing, but the most important thing is getting the economy back up and running. Remember that, you know, I don't want to come out as a anti-right-wing pundit. There's a lot of science denialism from the left. Those who don't believe in vaccines are often on the liberal side of the spectrum. Those who think GMOs cause cancer are often on the liberal side. But climate denialism comes from the right, and mostly the virus is a hoax that was perpetrated from our president less than a month ago was coming from Fox News, coming from the right side of the political spectrum. And then lastly, an uplifting article from the New York Times. What the coronavirus means for climate change. Lockdowns and distancing won't save the world from warming, but amid this crisis, we have a chance to build a better future. So this article is twofold. First of all, it mentions that, you know, an economic shutdown is actually great for the environment. I don't know if you've seen pictures in Venice, Italy. There's dolphins and fish swimming through the canals, and normally those canals are filled with pollution and they're murky, but they're clear and clean, and just being shut down for a month has actually cleaned up the local environment. China's production has shut down close to zero. Global trade and global passenger planes have almost reduced to zero. And so on the one hand, you have the physical evidence of the economic shutdown being good for the environment, but more importantly, the fact that in the midst of a crisis, the global economy, the United States, for example, is able to put together a $2 trillion emergency package plan. $2 trillion is a ton of money. And there was very little pushback of, well, how do we pay for this? Is this too expensive? It was just passed, and it was mostly to save the economy. But this opinion brings up the idea that we have the tools for national emergency measures. Now, are we going to wait until New Orleans and New York and Los Angeles are flooded, and then we'll put in those emergency measures? Or, you know, can we actually spend billions or trillions of dollars towards the climate before it becomes a global emergency? Similar to the pandemic response, not to get political again, but as many of you know, I'm sure, Barack Obama had in place an emergency pandemic response team. Donald Trump cut that team in 2018. He restricted all funding, fired all the scientists in charge, and that short-sighted, save money in the short term, obviously cost a lot of money and a lot of lives in the long term. So you see a lot of parallels between this pandemic response and environmental action, where if we can convince each other to spend more money up front, we will save money and lives in the long run. So I have all 4 of these articles posted on Edmodo, and then you guys obviously have space to discuss. And then on a separate post Edmodo, I have 2 videos. Both videos are under 10 minutes. You can answer the 2 questions separately. The first question is, do you agree with the points given by geoengineering skeptics? And those points are often A, we're experimenting with the planet and we don't know the results. B, it could encourage bad behaviors. People will keep being environmentally irresponsible and say, oh, well, the scientists can engineer a solution. And then C, that it plays God with the planet. So do you agree or disagree with those ideas? Why or why not? And then of the different geoengineering possibilities from the video, we have, creating clouds, reflective arrays, carbon sequestration, aerosols in the stratosphere. There's a few different geoengineering possibilities. Which one do you think holds the most promise and why? Okay, and then the last thing for today is a little bit of homework. Again, Thursday, 11 a.m. I'd love to meet with as many of you who are around. These are some environmental documentaries that I know of. I don't think we've seen any of these, but I would check out the trailers for these. Just go to YouTube and find the trailers for all these different ones. Dirt and The Biggest Little Farm are both about agriculture. Gasland is about natural gas. The Cove is about dolphins in Japan. Maybe more of an animal rights issue, less of an environmental issue, but still a really good film. Tapped and Blue Gold are both about water. Who Killed the Electric Car is a very interesting but older video on the car manufacturer plans to make sure that we're dependent on oil. Before the Flood is about climate change. Cowspiracy is about the global meat market. Chasing Coral is about coral bleaching, and then obviously Plastic Ocean is about plastic in the ocean. There's a lot of other environmental documentaries out there. Even Netflix, I know, has dozens. So if you're up for it, do some research. Come to the meeting on Thursday. We'll check in, we'll say hi, and then we can discuss what we want to watch after spring break. And then last but not least, on Thursday, I'll have a college prep assignment for you guys, something for you to just kind of get your bearings regarding your college campuses that you'll be at next fall. So I hope you guys are doing okay, and I will see you on Thursday at 11 a.m. Hey, Elliot, you want to come here? Come here, sweetie. You got to pull up your pants first. Thank you. Do you want to say hi to my students? Yeah. Okay, come here. Oh! Do you see you down there? Yeah. So I'm talking to a bunch of high schoolers because they are going to school from home now. Do you want to say anything to them? Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say Rachel Carson is my favorite
author? What, Dad?
I'll ask you a few questions. Do you believe in climate change?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Do you like organic soil or soil full of fertilizer?
Sort of as well.
Which one?
This.
Organic or fertilizer?
Fertilizer.
You do like fertilizer. Okay, so you're not a traditional farmer. Is your EVS technocentric, ecocentric, or anthropocentric?
Anthropocentric.
Anthropocentric. Okay, that's cool. Last question. Let's see here. What do you think is the best way to slow down population change? Do you think it is birth control or education for women?
I just think it's for women.
Good job. All right, Elliot passed the IB exams. Okay, guys. Be safe. I'll see everyone on Thursday. You want to say bye-bye?
Bye.
Give him a wave. Do you want to blow him a kiss? Oh, that's so nice of you. Okay, bye-bye.